Welcome back to The Last Scare, the home for horror nerds to come together and gush about their favorite feel-good genre. And we're back on the road to Rise, this time Ashy Slashy, Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2. We're here today with Cam, Blake, and Sabrina, and I'm Jayla, of course.
We're going to start out with a little recap, and then we will launch into discussion.
Yes.
Season 2 opens with Ruby fighting a Gore the God Butcher looking-ass demon, one of her little hell spawns. Meanwhile, Ash and friends are finally in Jacksonville, Florida, and he's hornier than ever. After fighting some grody deadites at a pool party, he returns home to Elk Grove, Michigan, where the gang meets his father, Brock. At a bar, the town taunts Ash as the guy who chopped up his friends back in the day, calling him Ashy Slashy. Pablo is haunted by his possession in Season 1. Ruby gives Ash the Kandarian dagger to prove he can trust her and asks for his help defeating her deadite kiddos. She reveals she hid the Necronomicon in a corpse. Ash goes to the morgue and uses his chainsaw to search for it. He fights intestines, gets the book, and discovers that one of the corpses is labeled Lillian Pendergrass, the lady his dad is boinking. Sheriff Emery picks on Kelly for associating with Ash, but she kicks his ass. Pablo has visions of Ruby killing him and wakes up to stepmommy deadite Lillian going feral on them. Ruby quickly takes care of business and realizes that Pablo is having visions of an entity known as Baal. Some punks steal the Delta 88, which happens to have the book in it. And unfortunately, this one girl likes to read. She summons demons which possess her and the Delta. The crew decides to throw a big party to attract the kids who stole the car, and Brock shows up to the bar. Also, Ted Raimi is the bartender. Ash drugs Kelly with ketamine for some reason. Kelly, devoid of purpose, gets a pep talk from Ruby and agrees to help kill the demon children. Brock starts to get head in the bathroom, but she's the deadite from before, and Ash also gets head from her. Takes it, He cuts off her head. Ash starts to make amends with his dad, who is then unceremoniously squashed by the Christinafied Delta. The car kidnaps Pablo, and the Necronomicon in the back seat shows him horrible visions. Ash and Ted go after the Delta while Ruby and Kelly go hunting for children, all of whom they kill. Ash fights the car and frees Pablo, but the book tells Pablo to speak some words, which he does. The trunk turns into a hellish void and Pablo throws the book in. Ruby immediately gets a sense that the Necronomicon is gone. Back at the bar, an officer named Margie gets voluntarily skinned. The Fuzz catches up with Ash and puts him in the slammer with Ted the bartender, whose name is actually Chet the bartender. An entity using Margie's skin lets Ash out. Marge deflates and Ruby explains that Baal the demon jumps from body to body. She gets the dagger from evidence while Pablo reveals a nasty demon rash on his tummy. Everyone's trying to figure out who's possessed, but it turns out to be the lady cop in the evidence locker. She strips her skin to reveal Baal's standard human form. He takes the dagger from Ruby and they argue about a deal they made. Margie the meatbag comes back and kills Chet's friend from the bar.
No! Oh God! You were so giving!
Ruby swoops in to deliver the chainsaw for Ash to chop Marge in half. He then totally steals the sheriff's girl, who happens to be named Linda. Pablo's rash gets real bad, and Ruby says he's their chance at stopping Baal. He's converging with the Necronomicon, and Ruby suggests that they allow it to happen a little further. An angry mob led by Sheriff Emery shows up at Brock's house to take Ash in. Kelly fends them off while Ruby does a ritual to accelerate the convergence. He gets some sick tats in the process. The ritual finishes and Ruby gets hurt, revealing that her children stole her immortality. Ash finds Chet in Cheryl's old room, and her specter appears to them. She rips Chet's heart out, and Ash mansplains his situation to the town, demonstrating through Cheryl that deadites are real for real. A Baal-possessed Karen knocks him out, and he wakes up to a doctor who looks like Baal, telling him he's been delusional ever since that weekend 30 years ago, and he's been institutionalized this whole time. The whole gang is there, and it seems like maybe Dr. Baal is telling the truth. Ash seems to accept the story, and Baal motivates him to destroy the Necronomicon. Ruby, Pablo, and Kelly search for Ash and run into Sheriff Emery, whose daughter is a cute little deadite now, and she rips his head right off, so Kelly destroys her, but Ash is close behind. His allegiances shifted. He finds Ruby and Pablo ready to destroy the book, but you may remember Pablo is the book now. Kelly fights Puppet Ash and then enlists Linda's help fighting Ball. Ash seems ready to end Pablo, but cuts him loose instead. Ball sheds his coat, and Ruby fuses the Brujo medallion to his chest. The Pablonomicron does some chants and turns Ball's body into poop, but gets Darth Mauled in the process. Ash does drunk Delta donuts with Pablo's corpse, who tells him to go back in time. Ruby reads Pablo's tats, and they go back to the 80s. They go to the cabin, but are pretty immediately chased by spirits. Ash's leg goes bad, and he decides to suck it out like snake venom instead of hacking it off. He pulls an evil Ash fetus out of his throat.
Fuck you, Ash, fuck you!
And smashes it to bits. Down in the cellar, Ash finds Henrietta from Evil Dead 2 chained to the wall. He slaps her around, knowing what happened way back when. Professor Nobi shows up to the cabin and shows himself to be a real dick, obsessed with the power of the Necronomicon. Surprise, surprise, Henrietta goes bad. Meanwhile, Ruby and Kelly are attacked by a demon tree, but don't worry, that doesn't happen again, if you know what I'm talking about. They stab it in the eye and break loose. Nobi leaves the cabin with the Necronomicon, but gets splattered in his car. A blonde Ruby variant pops in, closely followed by Kelly and Ruby 1. Henrietta does the gooseneck thing and Ash lops it off.
Fuck you!
After he breaks out of the cellar, Ruby 2 stabs Ruby 1 with a dagger. Outside, Ash discovers that the time travel worked and his hand is fully intact and Pablo is alive. The trio peels out in the Delta, but Pablo sheds his skin to reveal Baal, and Ruby 2 delivers Ruby 1's severed head. Back in the cabin, Ruby's demon spawns are born again. Baal reveals that he transferred into Pablo when Pablo killed Baal, and manipulated Ash into doing a time travel. They make a deal that if Ash defeats him in a power-free fistfight, Baal and Ruby will go to hell and Pablo will be free and alive. They make the deal in blood over the book, but Ruby 2 alters the deal as they fight. Baal in Chet form plays Ash like a piano and chops off his hand. Brock shows up and Ash drowns him in the bathtub. Baal says that Ash is prophesied to die by his hand. Ash pulls an Uno reverse card and skins Baal with his own hand. Suddenly everything's on fire and the floor opens up, pulling Baal into hell along with the Necronomicon and the entire cabin. Pablo rises from the ashes, safe and intact. Back in present day, Force ghosts of Brock, Chet, and Cheryl watch over Ash at a rally. Ash declares he's moving back home to Elk Grove and gets some sugar from his new Linda, but Ruby 2 also waits in the crowd. Post-credits, a hand finds the Necronomicon in the woods.
Hey, look what I found!
Not a hand, oh no.
Not again!
Reminds me of the end to Jason Goes to Hell, with Freddy's glove finding Jason's mask.
Dude.
Too perfect.
I know.
That's the only Friday the 13th movie I've seen, actually.
Really?
I'm gonna watch them all, but that Jason Goes to Hell is the only one I've watched.
That's crazy.
And I really liked it. I thought it was just bonkers.
Oh, man.
That's the movie that fans often debate about because it made a canon that Jason's a Deadite. They used the Necronomicon and the Kandarian dagger in that movie. It's simply the fact that the director loves Evil Dead and they shot Army of Darkness at the same time. So he's like, can I take this? Like from the set? And they're like, okay.
That's
sure.
awesome.
Who cares about these movies anymore? Do what you want. And he's like, I fucked with the lore.
Little Dicky, do you fuck with the lore?
People argue, but I'm like, it's in the movie.
I mean, the Necronomicon has shown up in different places.
Yeah, Pamela's like, Jason.
Batman's had it. It showed up. Joker's had it.
Yeah, Joker held the Necronomicon a little bit ago.
Batman had it, and he was in a library, and then all you see is a little Necronomicon popping out, and I'm like...
Just a few weeks ago, she sent me that panel of Batman holding the Necronomicon, and I was like, that fucking book gets around. Like, everybody has read from it.
Warner Brothers has Evil Dead now, so maybe Flashpoint we'll do it with Flashpoint.
Like, could you imagine?
Barry starts to read from the book, and Batman's like, would you fucking just stop?
Like, no.
Just leave shit alone, man.
Why he's literally saying, like, or you could just ruin it.
Man. Anyway, best season of the show.
Yeah. I really I really enjoyed season 2. There's so many things to say, so many things to gush about. Just starting right off the bat, having Ted Raimi be like in so many episodes.
Oh no, God. You were so giving.
Just like
That was definitely my biggest laugh in the season. I had to include that.
Oh yeah.
him and Ash have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, it's another thing I forgot to mention in the recap. I just because gotta cut details. But Chet and Cheryl used to get it on.
Yeah, that was an
That's a
uncomfortable
thing.
scene.
Just more lore, just more.
Was that the same actress that played Cheryl in the original?
It looked like it. I forgot to look it up.
Yeah, I was like, they got the original Cheryl. I'm so
But,
impressed.
looks like her. It's definitely her.
It does look like her. I think I looked it up when I first saw the season, and I was like, "Is that really Cheryl?"
That was a huge surprise for me because, like, I'm just gonna go with that it's totally definitely her because, like, oh my god, this is like
I'm not fact checking it. It's
this
her.
is actually happening now.
I'll fact check it, but I won't tell you if we're wrong, just to maintain the illusion.
No, I want to know if you find out.
Mhm.
But I know it's her.
Yeah, that is her, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Ellen Sandweiss.
He caught Chet being a bit suspicious in Cheryl's room.
It's being a little sus, bro.
Being a little sus. And Ash, everything went over Ash's head. Poor guy. He's probably had a lot of concussions.
Yes. He's getting too old for this shit.
But no, like I said, I love season 2. I had a great time with it. In particular, I love the whole Christine Delta 88 thing they had going on with this murderous car. That was a great time. But I think my favorite episode might be the first time Ash wakes up in the mental institution. And
Interesting.
I really enjoyed that.
That'd be questioning everything.
I loved Puppet Ash. That was hilarious. I don't know. I really liked that episode a lot. But I'm very excited to hear what you guys think. Cam, what do you think about season 2?
I think season 2 is a pretty significant step up. I've got my complaints about the CGI gore and whatnot, but there's definitely less of that this season. Definitely the visuals are a lot stronger. I think it's interesting that you have another new villain across the arc of the season, but also Ruby is definitely turning out to be kind of like an overarching villain because there's never really any point where I feel like I can really trust her. And now that Ruby is dead and we have a different version of her, she seems even less trustworthy, and I'm interested to see where that goes. You have the Xbox on your ceiling?
Yeah, it's right above me.
Achievement unlocked, Ash vs. Evil Dead
Jesus.
Season 2.
It scared me.
Sabrina, give me all your thoughts on season 2, and also let me know your favorite episode of this season.
Honestly, mine's probably the Asylum too. It's just that was a very step up because I was like, oh my god, I was like, what if? It's like one of those moments where you're like, oh my god, what if it was like all in his head the entire time? And like I don't know, I like when they like when they do something like that to kind of be like, you're like, wait, is
And they
this?
make you second guess it.
Yeah, that was really good.
Mhm.
That I definitely wasn't expecting. And like I don't know, I was just very and like when Ash, even like the second part when he came out with that look, it's like my favorite. I don't know, I just like it looks so badass. I was like, he's so cool.
In the camo jacket?
Yeah, it was so cool. It's definitely like I know we said it like a little bit in like last video, but like it's definitely a step up with like more plot focused and like I said, expanding more deeper in the plot with also expanding like the lore and bringing back people from like the movies and stuff like that. I don't know. I like when shows write it well and like they bring back stuff where they connect like the movies into like expansion on like shows. Like I use it as a perfect example, but like Cobra Kai does that, and I think it like they do it very well. They like combine all the movies into the show and like bring back old people that you're like, oh wow, okay, that was done really well. They're like, okay, this, but we're gonna explain it like this. Like meeting Ash's father because we never really knew anything about him prior. Like we went to a cabin with his friends. We knew he had a sister. That was really it. We never knew his parent. Like we never knew his family, like where he was from. Nothing. But like that was more like okay. We learn more about our hero, more stakes, I guess, because you're like, oh, where are they going with this? And it's like, oh wow, it's deeper than we thought. Like, not that there was like, you could tell there's not like a bigger budget in like the first season, but I feel like it was more like, okay,
They found their footing.
yeah, they found their footing, and then they're like, okay, we got renewed for a second season. Now it's like, okay, we can expand it, and like we got to think of a whole plot, and like we got to make it good enough where we can get more seasons, expand it more. So
Absolutely. All great points. All of them. Every single moment. Sabrina.
yeah, I love it. I love season 2 so much.
Me too. Blake, I'm going to pass it on to you.
My second favorite episode was The Asylum, so don't worry. It was great, and I love Ashley Slashy. He's the best part of the whole show.
Ashley Slashy. I want him so bad.
I know. I looked it up. They have it for like fucking $100, $200. It's like insane, but I do want him. My favorite episode is the finale. Again, I love that they took it back to the cabin, and I think they did it even better than in season 1. They had they brought Henrietta back, which is my favorite thing about Evil Dead 2. That's the epitome of that movie. It's this horrific monster, but it's like just goofy enough to where you're having fun with it more than you are scared of it. And I think with the updated effects and the little bit of CGI that they do use on Henrietta, I think it looks phenomenal. And I love his. He's like, I will not have another evil Ash, and he rips that little thing out of him, which just cracks me up before he smashes it.
He's always having an evil Ash, man.
Always, you have to have an evil Ash in an Evil Dead project, and I really love the not the puppet, but the Ashy Slashy subplot that his hometown thinks he's a psychopath. Because the second they said that, I'm like, they really wouldn't know what happened in that cabin. So I guess it would look like he just hacked his friends out because he literally did. They didn't know they were possessed. He did chop his girlfriend's head off and killed all his other friends. And they took it seriously. Like, it really wasn't a joke. Like, his dad was just like, mean to him the whole time. And Ash is like he didn't feel like he had to prove himself. He's just like, I'll take it. Like, I know I saved the world, so to speak, but sure, you guys can bully me this whole time. And I like when they get serious with comedic characters, or like you said, a little bit of a buffoon. It's just you can feel bad for Ash every now and
It's
then.
like he kind of accepts it because he's like, I don't think you guys would understand anyway. So he's like, all right, if that's my cross to bear for saving the world, like I guess I got to deal with it.
Exactly.
It's kind of sad, but I don't know. It makes me a little sad because I'm like,
It's sad, but it works.
I'm like, he saved you all.
Yeah, but he's a humble hero, and he takes it. Those are the highlights for me. I didn't love the Pablo being the book kind of subplot. It got old to me after a while. I think that's my one nitpick. I do love them fighting that car, though, and the tree. Like, when Evil Dead does that, just inanimate objects becoming possessed, and the fact that they incorporate that into the video game just makes me smile.
Yeah, the Pablonomicron is a weird situation, and it's actually, it's not my favorite either, because after the end of episode 4, when the trunk turns into hell and he throws the book in, where's the book come back after that? I have a really hard time keeping track of where the book is at any point. Even like going through the series, making the recaps, I'm like, where in the hell is the book? And it's been swallowed up into the void, and I'm sure we're going to see it again, like, very soon. I just don't really at any point remember where it was left. And whenever I see it again, I basically just turn my brain off and accept, okay, yeah, no, I mean, we gotta have the book.
It might be easier to just accept that they're different books each time, because I feel like each project kind of establishes there are multiple books. And actually this morning, Lee Cronin talked about that and said he uses a new book for Evil Dead Rise and said it's kind of like a throwback to Army of Darkness, where Ash has those 3.
Yeah, I was like, he had the 3 books and he couldn't even remember.
Yeah, and he said if you look at that whole, like, all the stones in front of Ash, they're like missing spots. Like, books were originally there. Like, there's even more than 3, and he said he likes to have it in his mind that Sam Raimi used a book. The director for Evil Dead 4 used a different book, and now he's using a totally different book too. So you could just tell yourself that, like, once one's gone, another is just like manifests itself. I mean, it's supernatural.
One's gone, the other another shall take its place, literally.
Yeah, there's like 4 on the sidelines, and like, oh, one was destroyed, and the other was like, "You're up, buddy." I'm like, okay, just one enters our world.
I'm excited to see the new book. I haven't actually watched the full trailer, so I
Yeah.
don't know what it looks like yet. I'm really excited.
I watched the trailer when it dropped, and then ever since I've been like,
Does it look really cool?
I don't remember. I don't even think they showed it.
It looks different. It looks a little different. There's new TV spots, and I keep trying to look away because I'm like, I'm sold. I don't want to see anything else.
I think the only thing I think I remember, I could be wrong, I'd have to actually see, but I think like the spine is different.
Yeah, there are a few different details. I feel like each TV spot just spoils like something more each time. Just like, I mean, with a horror movie, we have to market it with like the kills and stuff, but they show it to the point where you're like, okay, I know some of the people that died.
Well,
now.
TV spots are but like when it's clips, I'm like, no.
I mean, more so like Instagram stuff. Like, because people don't really watch TV anymore. Like, when it comes to cable, it's all scrolling through Instagram or Twitter. Like, those are the new TV spots. And those show way too much because, you can show whatever on Instagram for the most part. And that's where I'm like, son of a bitch. I just saw what she did to that poor person. I'm glad this movie's going full gore, is what a lot of reviews are even praising it for. Because that's
like,
Evil
it's
Dead.
disgusting. They're like,
it's a total
disgusting. I'm
bloodbath.
like, yes.
That's what the franchise is. It's what these movies need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Horror dipped away from that for a while. If you notice, gore, like,
I mean, that's literally what Bruce talked about, like in an interview. I think somebody asked him that, and he's like, no, like he said it like.
Because they always ask these legends, what's your opinion of elevated horror and all that, and everyone's like, what the fuck is that? I think John Carpenter said that last year about Halloween Ends. Like, what's your opinion of elevated horror? He's like, I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really pay attention to all that. He's like,
We're bringing the Splatterfest back. To me, that's where we separate the fictional from the reality. Is where it's so over the top. It's like, okay, this is a movie, and it's not like more disturbed. Like, someone getting stabbed in the chest disturbs me more than someone getting their face ripped off or something like that. Which sounds really weird to say, but that's just...
No, I see what you mean, yeah.
If you know what I mean, yeah.
No, I think it's more ruthless. No, I'm the opposite. I think those, like, I can just handle, like, a little stab. But when it's, like, a full violent thing, I'm like, all right. Okay.
I could watch Terrifier 2 a lot easier than I can watch, like, a true story where someone's just, like, their throat slit and dies. Just like, ew, that happens. You don't often see a clown just, like...
It's one I can handle a simple stab, but it's like if you like move it or like like I can't.
And it's so simple. It's just one, stab and slice. It's just uncomfortable.
Or if you like, or if you see the knife, I'm like, okay. Or like if someone gets stabbed and you can see it on the other side, that freaks me out.
Shudder did a show last year called like 101 Scariest Moments of All Time, and one of them was for the old movie Zombie. If anyone's heard of that, kind of an obscure gore movie. And it's known for a scene where this zombie pulls this woman into this wooden door he broke, and it's, a splinter, and it just goes straight into her eye. Just something very simple, and the director said it's effective because everyone knows what a splinter feels like, and everyone knows how annoying it is when you get something in your eye. Because it's something you can relate to. But if someone gets their skull split open, we have no idea what that feels like, so it's easier to stomach it, I guess. It's kind of subjective, but...
Yeah, it's like exciting and fun to see.
Maybe for you guys, but not me.
You had a hell of a time with Terrifier 2. You're the wrong audience for my explanation here. You're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Terrifier 2 sucked.
I get you.
Yes. But I digress. I mean, horror is subjective when it comes to everything. That's why I love it. Everyone has their scariest stuff and their favorite stuff.
Like Sabrina's favorite is Corey.
That's right. The murderer of children. The outcast.
I think we talked about that like recently, and he was just like, I forget what he said, but he's like, did he kill somebody in the beginning? And I was like, yes, that's literally the whole point on why.
Forgive me for not remembering Halloween Ends, okay?
No, but he's like, why does that? He's like, did something happen in the beginning? I was like, yeah, he literally killed the kitty babysitter.
No, it was Dead Meat's Horror Awards, and they listed the killer, the victim's name.
Oh,
and I said, who was that?
Like, who's that? And I was like, it's the kid he killed.
You said it was the kid in the opening. I was like, yikes. He made the cut.
But all you need is love, am I right?
God damn it.
Crap, I can't.
Just gotta shoehorn those recurring bits in.
We have to.
No, that was just like probably like the funniest like highlight. You're like, who is that? And I was like,
And real quick to cap us off, Ball is coming into the Evil Dead video game for everybody that plays.
He is?
Well, their latest update is going to be for Ash versus Evil Dead specifically. They're adding Ball. They're adding a skin for Pablo and Kelly, I believe, and Asylum Ash for the Ash versus Evil Dead character. They're adding that look for him.
no, I want to play as him. I love him.
Top it off,
To
Cherry.
top it off, I will say Ball was a great villain. I really enjoyed it. I love this whole, like, he could be anyone thing. He was kind of sleazy, kind
I
of
like
gross.
his fingernail.
He skins people,
His
man.
little-
That's
His
disgusting.
little ET finger. He's sleazy and gross, and he can shapeshift, and he just causes chaos. It's great. It's fun. I had a great time with this.
And he's so ugly.
He's like older Loki. He's just always greasy.
Yeah.
That long black stringy hair. He just looks oily.
My undying infidelity.
Undying.
Or fidelity.
Infidelity.
I said my undying infidelity.
If you didn't say fidelity, I wouldn't have caught it.
Oh, God. Do you guys have any other thoughts on season 2? Any favorite bits? Any,
I just hope Ashy Slashy makes his appearance in Evil Dead Rise. They need to dig up out of their basement and be like, the fuck is this puppet? Just discard it. Maybe that's the Ash cameo.
Yeah, the director, Lee Cronin, said that there's, like, not a Bruce cameo, but there is, like, a small Bruce Campbell appearance in a
Easter
way. Like, yeah, like an Easter egg, and he said or I think Sam Raimi said it, actually, but that he'll give $50 to anyone who can figure out what the appearance is. So it's not
I
going
want
to
to
be
get
something
$50
obvious.
from Sam Raimi just to be like, I figured it out.
Somebody had like the best theory that it's probably what it's going to end up being is him being in the actual Necronomicon.
That Shaw from Evil Dead 2.
When they talked about him being literally the chosen one, that's probably it.
They're probably just like, who's this bozo?
I'm super excited. We're right there. We are almost done. Our journey is almost complete.
We're almost there. Dang, we started this last year.
I know, and it's time. It's almost time to finally watch Evil Dead Rise. I'm buzzing, guys. I can't wait. In the meantime, you guys can follow us on our social medias at Last Scare on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And on the screen, you guys can see all of our lovely social handles to follow us. And, so come say hi. Check us out. And if you ever see a book bound in human flesh, you just do what Stu does and leave.
Run away.
It doesn't work.
Just run away. Just run away and run in the opposite direction. Don't pick it up.
Do what Stu says and say, I'll be right back, which is what you're never supposed to do in a horror movie.
What you said.
I'll be right back.